Hi, thanks for coming to my channel. This is Billy Roll, and today I'm going to be doing the Unpopular Opinion book tag, originally done by the Book Archer. So pretty much what I'm going to be doing is answering 9 questions and giving my unpopular opinion on books that I have or haven't read. So if you like the video, tell me what you think in the comments and hit the like button below. And if you want to see more content in the future, which will be coming soon, hit the subscribe button and you'll know when I post something. So, number 1 to start the book tag off with is a series that everyone seems to love that you just didn't like or you hated. And mine, it's not necessarily universally loved. I have seen some negatives, but most of the time it has a higher average rating on Goodreads, Amazon, things like this, and it is rabidly popular. And that was After by Anna Todd. I read the first book, and I even got through most of the second book because the book is really easy to read. You get addicted to it, but it's more like you get addicted to staring at a car accident. You're like staring off at something that's like a dumpster fire. And to me, I didn't like it because, for one, I have to like the love interest if I'm going to read a romance. Like, if that's the main concept of the book is the romance, then I have to like the love interest. And I did not like Hardin, and I did not like the protagonist. I think that Tessa is an idiot. Like, I think that she makes all the dumb decisions, and I think that they are the worst 2 characters of the book. And I think that Anna Todd really didn't do that great of a job portraying this romance, because it's almost like she's trying to get you to dislike it, which is really detrimental to a book as romance-based as After. One character that I really did like was Zed. I thought that he was written really well, and he felt really three-dimensional, and I just really didn't like the way that that was going, and the way that Tessa was constantly in this like toxic circle of repetitive bull, and so I did not like that, and so it really turned me off. I actually DNF'd the second book at about 88%, I think it was. So I definitely am not on the After train. The second question to the book tag is, what is a series that everyone seems to hate that you love? And my answer is going to be Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I know that it's not actually really hated, but I have seen more negative than positive reviews, on at least on BookTube. And before I read the series, all I had seen was really negative comments. I almost didn't read it, and it sat on my shelves for a good 2 years after my friend gave it to me. She gave me like the first 3 books, and I eventually decided to read it because I had read A Court of Thorns and Roses and I had really enjoyed it. So I decided to read Throne of Glass, and I'm really glad I did. It has become one of my top 3 favorite series of all time. So I don't really get the hate on this. I find the characters rich and deep and beautiful, and I find the world building amazing. Like, I just love everything about the book. So I really don't get the hate on that one. So the third question is going to be a love triangle that you didn't agree with the ending to, or an OTP that you didn't agree with. And I'm going to do both. I'm going to do 2 different answers. The first is going to be The Vampire Diaries by L.J. Smith. I liked Elena better with Stefan, but she ended up with Damon in the show and the books. So I really didn't like the ending of that love triangle. I think that Elena would have been better, and it would have been better for her to be with Stefan. So the OTP I didn't agree with is from Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. And no, it's not Ron and Hermione, even though I do not like that pairing. I'm going to focus on Harry and Ginny today. As a kid, I loved Harry and Ginny. I was so excited in Half-Blood Prince when they kissed. I still have the paragraph memorized. But as an adult, her love for him was really fanatical, which I find really unhealthy, and I don't think that it would bode well for a marriage. So I think there are 2 alternatives for Harry that I like. One is not really that unpopular, and one is. So Hermione and Harry, which isn't that unpopular, would have been really good. They get along really well, they are in sync, they work really well as friends, and I think they would have worked really well as a couple. They had a lot of chemistry in the movies and the books, so I really could have seen that going a lot more successfully than Ron and Hermione or Harry and Ginny. So the least popular one that I have is Harry and Luna Lovegood. I really liked how Harry treated Luna with respect and compassion despite the fact that she was a little odd. And I love that he didn't let her reputation affect his opinion of her. And I think that the parallel of that, they both have really big reputations, and they both have a lot of people talk about them and whisper about them. And so they're both really used to being looked at and whispered at and talked about. And so I think that they would have worked really, really well as a couple, because I love the way that Harry never let Luna feel like she was less than who she was supposed to be. Number 4 is, what genre do you reach for the least? And mine would have to be romance. I do read some contemporary fiction, especially this year, which definitely has a huge romantic presence. Like this year I read Red, White, and Royal Blue, and then I also read We Contain Multitudes and To All the Boys I've Loved Before, and I tried the After series by Anna Todd, and then last year I read Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda. So I mean, I do read romance, but it's something that I don't read often, and it's probably less than 10% of my reading. So that would definitely have to be one of the genres that I reach for the least. Question 5 is, what is a beloved character that you don't like? And I had a couple options for this. I was gonna do Ron Weasley from Harry Potter, but I feel like that's not really that unpopular. So I decided to do Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I'm gonna do Rowan. Rowan is a character that is introduced in the 3rd book, but he does something in the 3rd book that I find unlikable and unforgivable. And then throughout the series, you're supposed to root for him. I told myself, if he dies in the next 4 or 5 books, I won't care. I don't like him. At first, I actively wanted him to leave. But then when she tried, to make you like the character, I went from horribly disliking to really indifferent, not caring either way. I have no strong feelings for him. So I really just don't see why everyone loves Rowan. So question 6 is going to be, which popular author do you have trouble getting into? And mine is going to be Matt de la Pena. I'm not saying that I'm not into any of his books, because I really, really, really enjoyed The Living Duology. I wasn't really into his Superman book, and I tried to read another one of his books. I can't remember which one it was, because I had picked up a couple, and I started to read one, and it just wasn't for me. I'm optimistic that he'll write something else that I'll really love, but so far The Living is the only thing. And I think I've tried 5 of his books. 2 of The Living, the Superman one, and then 2 more. So it's like a 40% like rate at this point. So that's really the only negative that I have. Number 7 is going to be a popular book series that you don't have any interest in reading. And I think mine is going to be Caraval. I know that it has really high ratings, and I'd probably really like it if I actually sat down and read it. But a couple weeks ago, a bookstore near me was doing a penny per page. And so I was going to do the first book, but I read the synopsis again on Goodreads, and it just didn't feel like it was for me. And so I don't really have any interest at this moment of reading it. I could change my mind and pick it up, but that's going to be the one series that's really popular that I just don't have any interest in reading. When I did the penny per page, I ended up picking Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. So no Caraval for me, at least at this point. So question 8 is going to be a trope in YA fiction that you're tired of seeing. And I know there's some really good ones, like Resurrection and Love Triangles and The Chosen One and things of this sort. And I don't really mind those if they're handled correctly. Like, I can think of examples of each of those that are handled really well in books. So I'm not really sick of seeing those yet. One that I am sick of is more of a judgment, but the bad boy trope. I hate that comes with the consensus that if you aren't damaged or morally gray, that you're a bland character. And I don't think that's fair, because I feel like in real life, you would rather have that person that you're calling bland than the person that has all these issues and all this baggage. So it's not fair to judge fictional characters on that double standard, because it's okay to not be morally gray. It's okay to not have a horrible past. It's okay to be a happy, kind, good-hearted person with no catch. I don't think that that's bland. But I don't get why authors feel like they have to have that bad boy in every story. I feel like I have not read a story recently that did not have a bad boy, that was damaged and morally gray and had these toxic tendencies, but they were excused by traumatic pasts. But readers are really bad about it. Readers will get into a story and there'll be two characters, one that's a murderer, a manipulator, an enslaver, but because he's more interesting when it comes to backstory, they would rather him come out on top than the character that is a good person and that loves the main character and is just not damaged and not morally gray, so they're bland to these readers. So I think that that's definitely something I'm sick of seeing, that double standard that you have to be damaged and you have to be toxic to be interesting. So number 9, the saying is that the book is always better than the movie, but what movie or TV adaptation do you prefer over the book? And I'm going to go with Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, and I don't know how unpopular that really is because I have seen it a few times. I just think that the books are a little dense and a little difficult to get through. They're more of like a chore. They're definitely rich, and when you get past the writing style and the description, it definitely is a really good book. But I just think that the movie captures what he was doing without having to get through where he'll describe a battle with half a page, but then he'll spend 2 pages describing the scene, like describing what's going on around it. And I think that the movie really has a great balance of beautiful scenery and awesome battle scenes and really good actors, and it just tells the story beautifully. And I just think that it is definitely going to be better than the book, and I don't say that a lot. Another one for me is the TV adaptation of The Vampire Diaries. So I definitely think that there are a couple things that are better than the books, but I definitely love the Vampire Diaries books, and I definitely enjoyed the Lord of the Rings book. It was just a little harder to get through, so I definitely enjoyed the movie more. Well, that's it for my unpopular opinion book tag, so I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'm sorry if I offended you, if I insulted your favorite book or whatever, but that's why it's unpopular. Thanks again, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time I post a video.